following is a feature presentation of the Replay Sports Channel, the home for great games.
Hi again, everybody. Glenn Walker here from the Replay Sports Channel studios. We want to officially welcome you to another episode of WFL Inside Access, the weekly podcast that's everything WFL. This week's episode, Pantheon Bowl 23 Recap Show, brought to you by Royal Retros. Royal Retros is your ultimate one-stop shop representing the teams of the past. Head over to www.royalretros.com today and use the discount code REPLAY to get 10% off your purchase. Link we provided in the description. So let's go ahead and take you over to the team for the recap of last week's Pantheon Bowl 23 between the Tampa Bay Bandits and the Las Vegas Outlaws.
All right, let's get into this. We're doing a deep dive today on a game that just completely flipped the screen right at the very end. Pantheon Bowl 23.
Yeah, talk about drama. This one we're off the charts. We've been looking through some excerpts from a PBX3 roundup piece, and it really maps out the whole thing. You know, the flow, the big moments, key players.
Right, and what we want to do is really unpack it. How did this game look like one thing for so long and then just end so incredibly? What do those final seconds especially tell us about playing under that kind of pressure?
And the score itself is the perfect hook, really. Tampa Bay Bandits 23, Las Vegas Outlaws 16. But that score doesn't even begin to tell you about the comeback. Just pulled it out of nowhere.
Exactly. So let's paint the picture. You had two teams, both really dominant in the regular season. Tampa Bay Bandits, 14-2-1. Las Vegas Outlaws, also 14-2-1.
Mm-hmm. And the article mentions the Outlaws were, like, slight favorites going in. Big stage, Blaze Force Park, huge international crowd, you know, proper championship feel.
Yeah, totally. And Tampa Bay, they actually scored first. Opening drive, Joe Flacco hit Darren Higbee, 9-yard TD. Looks smooth.
But Vegas, they answered right back. Put together a nice 68-yard drive. Devin Singletary punched it in from 4 yards out. So back and forth early on.
Yeah, trading punches. And it stayed really tight. Late in the first half, Tampa nudged ahead again with a field goal, right? Chad Ryland from 22 yards.
Yeah, that made it 9-7 Bandits. Felt like, okay, this is going to be a bit of a grind, maybe a defensive battle.
Then the Outlaws took the lead early third quarter. Jalen Hurts, little 11-yard run for a touchdown, put Vegas up 13-9.
Yeah, and that was his only rushing score, interestingly. But at that point, it kind of felt like Vegas was starting to impose their will a bit, maybe?
It did seem that way, but they didn't panic. They just sort of hung around. Flacco made a few plays, like that pass to McLaurin for 15 yards.
Right, which set up another field goal, a longer one this time, Chad Ryland again, from 49 yards out.
Yeah.
So, chipping away.
And Ryland was huge for them in the fourth. He hit two more. A 48-yarder and a 33-yarder. So those three field goals, basically they erased that Vegas lead and actually put the Bandits up 15-13.
Yeah, they clawed back. But what's really interesting, looking at the article's stats, is how much Vegas seemed to be dominating in other areas, like 214 rushing yards.
Oh.
Over 35 minutes of possession time. They were moving the ball on third down pretty well, 6 for 13. On paper, you'd think they were controlling things.
Okay, so if they're running the ball like that, controlling the clock, how did they lose? This is the crucial part the article gets into.
Yeah, it's simple. Turnovers. Jalen Hurts threw 4 interceptions. 4. Ooh, 4. 2 of them in the fourth quarter alone. And one of those directly set up that go-ahead field goal for Tampa Bay.
Man, you can run all day, hold the ball forever, but 4 picks in a championship game, that's just devastating.
It is. Coach Todd Bowles even said it, you know. We ran the ball well, played tough. But you can't turn it over 4 times and expect to win. He nailed it. It often comes down to mistakes, not just who piled up more yards.
Which sets up that absolutely insane finish, because even with the turnovers, Vegas somehow drove down and got the lead back. Matt Gay, 21-yard field goal.
Yeah, and there were only 19 seconds left. 19. So it's 16-15 Outlaws. And you got to think, okay, that's it, game over. Vegas survived their own mistakes.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, who wouldn't think that? But Tampa gets the ball back, their own 25, less than 20 seconds, no timeouts left. Pressure cooker doesn't even begin to describe it.
And Flacco somehow stays cool. Hits a couple of quick passes, McLaurin, Johnston, Higbee. Gets them, maybe near midfield, maybe a bit past it. Just enough to have a prayer.
And then the clock's ticking down, 3 seconds left. Flacco just airs it out, a bomb, 75 yards downfield.
Finds Cooper Kupp. The article says Kupp streaked past blown coverage. You can just picture it, right?
Yeah.
A bust in the secondary, Kupp's gone.
Gone, touchdown. Just like that, the gay field goal means nothing. Completely wiped out.
Unreal. And then they go for 2 just to rub it in. Flacco hits Gus Edwards. So it goes from 16-15 Vegas with 19 seconds left to 23-16 Bandits, game over. An 8-point swing in basically no time.
Flacco's quote afterwards, "Coop made me look good," is pretty classic Flacco, isn't it?
It is. Humble, but man, what a throw under pressure. Perfect execution when it mattered most.
Okay, let's talk about Flacco for a sec. Pantheon Bowl MVP. The numbers were solid, 21 for 39, 304 yards, 2 TDs, including that one.
Yeah, but the context the article brings up is fascinating. Remember Pantheon Bowl 13 back in 2014?
Vaguely. Detroit won, right? Brady and Bush.
Right. But guess who the quarterback for the Outlaws was in that game?
Wait, Flacco.
Flacco. He threw a TD pass late to Josh Gordon, put Vegas up 24-20. Only to watch Brady lead Detroit down for the game-winning score, 27-24 in the final seconds.
No way. So he was on the other side of a last-second championship loss, playing for the team he just beat.
Exactly. Against the same franchise that drafted him, essentially. So this win, delivering the dagger against them this time, I mean, you have to think that's some serious personal redemption. It's incredible.
Wow, that adds a whole different layer. And Cooper Kupp's 6 catches, 136 yards. Decent game, but obviously dominated by that one play.
Totally. And that 75-yarder the article points out was his longest catch of the whole season. Happened at the perfect time.
Coach Leftwich said something about it, right?
Yeah, Byron Leftwich said, he's been clutch for us all year. The entire stadium knew who that ball was going to, and he still delivered. Which, speaks volumes about performing when everyone expects it.
And on the Vegas side, Hurts, 64 rushing yards, the TD, 123 passing. But those 4 interceptions just hang over everything.
They really do. You feel for Devin Singletary, too. Ran hard, 79 yards on just 10 carries. Got a touchdown. The ground game worked. But
the picks.
The picks were the story.
So for Tampa Bay, this win is huge. It's only their second title ever, and the first one was way back in 1982.
Wow, 40-plus years. That's a long way for the fans. It is. And they're one of the original WFL teams from 78. Only 2 of those left. So it connects them back to their roots.
Plus, didn't they lose to the Outlaws in the Pantheon Bowl just last year?
They did. And it was a blowout, 46-14. So coming back the very next year against the same team that embarrassed you and winning it like this, that's got to feel amazing.
Talk about fuel. And for the Outlaws, man, they were thinking dynasty, right? Back-to-back wins against the same team.
Yeah, that was the goal. Instead, they're just left thinking about those mistakes, those turnovers, what could have been.
So as you listen to this breakdown, drawing from that roundup analysis, you really see it, don't you? How a team can look dominant on the stat sheet but still lose.
And how a veteran QB, maybe carrying some baggage from past losses, can find a moment of, maybe redemption. It's quite a story.
It really highlights how fragile these big games are. One mistake, one incredible play at the end can just change everything. Undoes 59 minutes of football sometimes.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Like, how much does that history, Flacco losing PB13 like that, actually impact how he plays in this PB23 moment? Does it make the pressure worse, or does it, sharpen the focus?
That's a great question. Or maybe the simpler takeaway is just how critical are turnovers compared to everything else. Vegas won so many statistical battles here,
but lost the turnover war decisively. Maybe in a close championship game, that's fundamentally the only stat that matters in the end. Something to think about.
So yeah, our deep dive into Pantheon Bowl 23 shows us it was way more than just a final score. You had a team bending but not breaking, another team dominating but undone by errors.
A veteran quarterback with this amazing backstory colliding with the finish, and just an unbelievable last-second heave for glory.
It's a good reminder that football, especially at this level, isn't just yards and points. It's about execution under pressure, avoiding those critical mistakes.
And sometimes just making one incredible play when it absolutely has to happen. Understanding those layers beyond the headlines. That's what we aim for today.
This episode of WFL Inside Access has been brought to you by Royal Retros, your ultimate pass one-stop shop representing the teams of the past. www.royalretros.com. Head over to Royal Retros today and use the discount code REPLAY to get 10% off your purchase. The link will be provided in the description.